The last 2, 3, 4 years, these off seasons and the trade deadlines in the NFL have gotten crazy. It almost seems like they're like, you know what, NBA, we're coming for y'all. We're coming for y'all because it gets crazy at the NBA trade deadlines and off seasons. In the NFL, usually it was like, okay, we're gonna just franchise you. We're not trading you. The most news was people holding out. That's what I remember going on.
Oh, man.
Now the biggest news, aside from big contracts, now the biggest news are the trades, the requests, all of the money going around. It seems like every other day there's a new contract that's being signed. And you know what? There's some big news. Obviously, Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett, man.
Ooh.
Signs a very rich contract with the Browns.
Yes.
Winning? He said he cared about winning, Flannel.
He said he cared about winning, but I guess money talks because he is now the highest paid non-quarterback to ever play in the NFL. 4 years, $160 million, $40 million AAV, 123.5 of that guaranteed. That is what, a 7 figures of a guaranteed money, or is it however many? But it's over 100 million, 9 figures actually of a guaranteed money. It's
insane.
I'll tell you what. And here's what I will say. The fact that he signed that contract with the Browns, I'm not mad. I'm not mad that the Lions didn't get him, and I'm certainly happy that he didn't go to the Commanders, he didn't go to the Eagles, he didn't go to the Vikings, he didn't go to the Bears, he didn't go to the Packers. All of those teams had the cap space to get it done. So he is exactly where he's been, where he is going to finish his career as one of the greatest defensive players to ever put on the pads, but win absolutely nothing. Not his fault. The team around him has largely been garbage, but I think that
I don't see that changing.
That's the thing, especially with they still got like the Deshaun Watson contract and who's their quarterback. It's just a lot of organizational rot, and that's basically what Myles Garrett has been throughout his entire career. Myles Garrett is arguably the best overall player in football, but during all of this time of great play where he's made 6 Pro Bowls, 4 first-team All-Pros, he won Defensive Player of the Year in a 2023, could have won it last year as well, the Browns have made a grand total of 2 playoff appearances in his 8 years. So obviously winning isn't as important to him as he said, but at the same time, the opportunity to make that kind of money.
Maybe that's what winning is to him.
I don't blame him for turning that down, but I just think the Browns, what are you doing? Myles Garrett, I get wanting a guy like Myles Garrett on your team, but they're not going to do anything with him on it. You've seen it over his career. If you can't, you're not going to win anything with just one superstar edge rusher and then a lot of dysfunction. We've seen it with the Browns throughout his career. We saw it especially last year where they won 3 whole games. So happy he's on the Browns and not on another NFC contender. Wish the Lions would have gotten him, but this is the best case scenario other than the Lions trading for him that we could have hoped for as Lions fans.
Yeah, it's the first thing I sent to the group chat as soon as it went down. If not the Lions, better with the Browns than somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Because then all of a sudden you're not having to worry about if this guy is going to be chasing Jared Goff into 3 or 4 interceptions. Shout out to Easy. I see you or 3 or 4 turnovers. I see you in the chat, Easy. But yeah, to me, this seems like winning to him was about money. And it's interesting to see that a couple big name edge rushers who were rumored, to be in some type of contact on the Detroit Lions radar, both got the bag this offseason. It's like, Brad, I see you helping these other edge rushers out. Help us out with one here in Detroit right now. Because the other news that pops up when you contrast this with Za'Darius Smith with Myles Garrett and the defensive line is the news of, all right, Marcus Davenport signed.
Yeah.
Decent deal, especially when you see the type of money that's being thrown around out there. Obviously, the injuries is something that you want figured out there. I not going wood with Marcus Davenport, but then the news of Za'Darius Smith being cut. Now, Rod Beard is one of those ones who's always like, you know what, sometimes just let everything settle. Let the smoke clear first. And so is there a possibility that they bring him back for less money? Potentially. But as it is right now, he thanked Detroit for his time here, and the Detroit Lions have released Za'Darius Smith. Yeah. And so right now, I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, all right, Brad Holmes, we've all been in this position over the last 4 seasons where we're like, you know what, trust in Brad. But one of the things that we've known up to this point is that this is where now the next evolution of Brad Holmes is going to have to show up. It's how do you keep this team good despite, all of the good players you drafted and the money you're going to have to pay to get players there. You're looking at players like Carlton Davis, who might not return. You're looking at a Za'Darius Smith, who it might not bring back. You know, that's where it's like, all right, Brad, it's time to cook up, because the way that this thing currently settled, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, I'm not personally right now super happy with a Za'Darius Smith being released. Obviously, it could open up things for an even bigger move. In theory, you could bring him back, and it saves the Lions about $6 million in cap space, and he was also due a $7 million signing bonus. So maybe they're just trying to clear up money, but I personally am disappointed with the fact that he never got to play with Aiden Hutchinson. You saw him last year really. I know some people were disappointed to some extent in his sack numbers, but he was good last year. And you know where he was at his best? Against the NFC North. 3.5 sacks in 4 games against NFC North teams. Had at least one big game against each of the Lions'
I thought he looked
NFC
good
North opponents. And yeah, he had 9 sacks as a whole last year, which was pretty damn good. It was tied for 18th in the NFL. And a lot of these deals that we are talking about potentially making, or at least inquiring about, you look at some of the free agents still out there right now. We talked about Joey Bosa, but what did I say about Joey Bosa? I would like him and Za'Darius Smith. Same with a guy like, I'll just throw some names up there that I wrote down, Chase Young. And I know some people think Chase Young is radioactive, but what about Chase Young and Za'Darius Smith? Chase Young had a pretty damn good year last year. 66 pressures, 21 quarterback hits. Josh Sweat, the same thing. I would love Josh Sweat and Za'Darius Smith. And I'm not saying that Brad is going to make those moves. It's just that I wanted Za'Darius Smith on this team this year, but maybe this frees up some other type of moves. Maybe a Trey Hendrickson trade and extension. Just something that I'm theorizing.
I know that's where a lot of fans' minds instantly went. Maybe Brad is cooking up for a big swing at a player in free agency or the trade acquisition market. Obviously, the draft is on the way, and so far, you guys have broken down 4 different defensive ends, and you also had a profile on a couple others on one of the shows. And there's a lot of fans who believe that he's gearing up to take a swing there, maybe trading up or taking multiple within the first several rounds of the draft. And that's where it's like, I'm wondering, it's going to be interesting, because this is the part of it. If this was last year or the year before, where we're asking Brad to do the things that he's already shown us he can do good, then you're sitting here even more comfortable. But right now, you give him that leeway, but I'm still sitting here like, all right, let's see what he's going to do to cook up now, because this is a crazy situation. It's almost like watching like the Ninja Warrior show, man. I forget what it's called. And they're going through all of the obstacle courses and all that type of stuff. And they get to the last part, and it's like, all right, bro, I know you got it in you. Yeah. I've seen you get this far, but can you get over there and press that button?
American Ninja
I'm going to put the money on Brad Holmes, but, man, it's looking away right now.
And, hey, if you want some hope for a certain move, DeMarcus Lawrence, his estimated value is $12 million. But, again, I would like him and Za'Darius Smith. But Marcus Davenport, you know what he's coming off of? An injury. Brad, I'm sorry.
Goodness.
It's not a stereotype anymore. It literally happens all the time.
It's a
type. No hate towards Brad Holmes.
He's a type.
He's helped build this team from the depths of hell to a 15-2 regular season. But the fact that I'm using DeMarcus Lawrence is like, oh, he was injured, Brad. Probably doing one of these. It's not grounded in nothing. I will just say that.
What up, though, KG?
I mean, I'm not really worried right now, and I get the worry from some fans and the fan base, because you're seeing a lot of things at one time, and you just is on. It's on. Hey,
yeah.
It's on.
Yeah, you good.
There we go.
So as a fan, I'm not necessarily worried right now. I get that there's a lot going on all at one time, but you got to just let Brad cook right now, because I do think that he is gearing up for maybe something that we don't expect. And there's still multiple options at his disposal. You talked about, the Marcus Davenport move. It's been a name that's been highly debated, while we're it's been highly debated while we're, just trying to, the injury bug. It's the injury thing. But I haven't really, you just go ahead, bro.
Yeah, definitely. We'll check that mic, man, and make sure that it's on. But yeah, I definitely I see what they're saying in the chat and everything, because I want to be able to get your comments on this, man, because that's the thing. We all expect Brad Holmes to cook because it's what he's done to this point. But like with Troy Weaver, who showed, I can draft, I can get some young talent in here. He had a rough time doing the second part of it that would secure the longevity. And I do believe Brad Holmes is going to get it done. But it's going to be intriguing to see which way he goes. He has a couple different options on the table here, obviously with Trey Hendrickson asking out. But I do believe with some of these other players getting the bag, it's not just now that there's less high-end edge talent out there, but that the market has just completely skyrocketed for these people. So if you're getting these guys, what are you doing money-wise? Because you also do have a Hutch on the other side of this thing that's going to have to get money. And they're already talking about with how this market is laying out, Michael Parsons talking about wherever he wants to go or re-signing with the Cowboys. They said that his market is already going to be astronomical.
Man, I honestly,
it's crazy.
Should the Lions just get the Hutch deal done now?
Well, you know what? I sent this to Travis last night, and he's going to make the graphic, and he's going to put Panay and Amon-Ra on there. I sent this to him last night. J.J. Watt, reward your players earlier and reap the benefits in the long run. Dragging it out not only ends up costing more, it creates unnecessary tension. The longer you wait, the higher the price. And this is from J.J. Watt, a guy who played in this league at a very, very high level. Shout out to J.J. Watt saying this. And he has Jamar Chase, he has Michael Parsons in the graphic. That's what Sports Illustrated put out there. And that's where it's like, you know what? Seeing what Brad's already done with Amon-Ra and Panay, give Hutch his bread. Because if and when he balls out, do you understand what that number will be?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If he has anything remotely close for over a full season of what he started off last year, just give the man some money this year. That's where I'm at with the Hutch thing.
Yes, and I see Chuck Brewer in the chat, and there's a couple of things that bother me, and I'll just get this off my chest. And no, I'm not going to yell and scream. I know there's a lot of people who are just, Detroit sports fans, Lions fans, fans of our network, fans of the flagship that really went on a panic after what happened this weekend. And I don't believe that that's right. I think that it's too early to make that kind of a determination. And if you are one of those people that does that, and I'm sure I've been guilty of that a time or two in my life, you're going to end up looking really silly if and when the Lions are just business as usual in this regular season. However, Chuck Brewer, and this is the other side that I cannot stand. Fire the bum. Bring back Matt Millen. God, our fan base is beyond stupid. Here's the thing. Nobody is saying that. Nobody has ever said that. Here's what happened this weekend when it comes to edge rushers. You released Za'Darius Smith and you re-signed Marcus Davenport. And I understand that the Marcus Davenport deal is incentive laden. And JB, if you want to put that up right now, we can actually show just what the incentive is when it comes to Marcus Davenport. 1 year, $3.65 million Marcus Davenport deal, $1.65 million guaranteed, $300,000 signing bonus, the $1.35 million guaranteed salary, $50,000 per game active roster bonus, $2 million in sacks and playtime incentive. And I get that makes the deal look a lot better than maybe it looked at the beginning. It most certainly does. But here's the thing. You should not panic over what happened this weekend, but if you can't slightly question releasing Za'Darius Smith and signing Marcus Davenport, we literally might as well make ourselves robots for Brad Holmes. Those are questionable moves, and I'm not saying that they won't work out, but having slight questions of, man, I kind of wish they wouldn't have released Za'Darius Smith does not mean I want Matt Millen back.
Right.
Jesus.
I think that Brad Holmes has earned all of our trust, but that doesn't mean that we don't question. They're asking fans to spend their money. Media spends their time and their energy. Fans, they make the biggest investment. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where it's like you want to be able to say, hey, where is this thing trending? Because fans don't buy season tickets because some people do buy it because they're slappies, but there are others who buy it because they believe in the trajectory that this team is putting in. You go back to the Millen era, and what did teams start to do? What did fans start to do? They started to not buy tickets. Yeah. They started to have blackouts. I remember games being blacked out on TV. And it sounds even crazy to think Ford Field not sold out today. And so it's like, you know what? Fans have a right to be, critical, whether it's positively or negatively, or just wondering or questioning, where is this thing trending from here? And to be fair, it's kind of this update. We talked about being fans, right, of a team with Super Bowl expectations. And this is part of that maturation. I remember there was some people in the offseason, and this was one where it was like that type of humble pie you just got to eat. And it was like Vikings and Packers fans like, they never been fans of a team that was good. They never been fans of a team that got their coordinators poached. And then you get some other people in media who